Me, Fred? Okay, good. Howard and I were living in Gresham in 1992. We had been attending a church in East Portland for a couple of years. In the fall of 1992, we were invited to an outdoor wedding at a gentleman's farm in Scappoose, which is 35 miles from Gresham. Since the bride and groom were close friends, they asked us to participate in the festivities. I was asked to cut the wedding cake for guests, and Howard was asked to videotape the ceremony. Howard was also asked to videotape any other activities that seemed document-worthy. For example, the family pig that wandered about the seating area. On the day of the wedding, we got dressed up in our finest. I wore a dress, and Howard wore a suit. Has anyone here seen Howard in a suit? It is quite rare. We arrived a few hours before the wedding was to take place. The groom's father gave Howard a quick lesson on how to run a video camera. Howard looked quite professional with his suit and tie and a video camera on his shoulder. I probably looked cute as a button. But who am I to say? The guests began to arrive and they milled about, visiting with each other prior to the ceremony. Some of the guests were outdoors, and some were in the great room in the house. One of the older guests, Aline, was a good friend of the father of the groom. Aline was also someone we knew from our church in East Portland. Aline did not give it a second thought. The good-looking videographer in the nice suit and tie could not possibly be Howard. First, Howard was not wearing anything she had ever seen him wear. Second, Scappoose was not a place where she would expect to see Howard, or me for that matter. She had arrived early and had been there for about 20 minutes when suddenly she spotted me. Then she exclaimed to me, "Oh, it is Howard running the video camera. I thought it was someone who could easily pass for Howard's twin brother." That was my aha moment. A Bible story that took place after the resurrection of Jesus never seemed to make sense to me. I'm talking about the day two of Jesus' followers were going to a village named Emmaus, about 7 miles from Jerusalem, and they were talking to each other about all the things that had happened. As they talked and discussed, Jesus himself drew near and walked along with them. They saw him, but somehow did not recognize him. Jesus said to them, "What are you talking about to each other as you walk along?" They stood still with sad faces and asked him, "Are you the only visitor in Jerusalem who doesn't know the things that have been happening there these last few days?" "What things?" he asked. "The things that happened to Jesus of Nazareth," they answered. Then they went on and told him the stories of what had just happened. And as they came near the village to which they were going, Jesus acted as if he were going farther. But they held him back, saying, "Stay with us. The day is almost over, and it is getting dark." So he went in to stay with them. He sat down to eat with them, took the bread, and said the blessing. Then he broke the bread and gave it to them. Then their eyes were opened, and they recognized him. After my experience with Aline, this Bible story makes sense to me. First, Jesus may not have been wearing his usual attire. Second, on the road to Emmaus was not a place where the followers expected to see their recently deceased leader. Sometimes we need to trust our eyes and believe what we see.